Yes, yes. No, no.
The presentation they want to make to us, which will be very important in terms of, then we'll have the representative from the Secretary Department for Devolution, will, and then before we go to the highlights of the foreign policy, we'll invite the country program and then a plenary. So,
the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Dr. MUDAVADI, colleagues from the State Department for Foreign Affairs, this morning extend our deepest appreciation to you all.
thank you, Your
And one of the issues that kept on disturbing me was that Kenya's foreign policy was foreign to Kenyans. It was alien. Hence, my persistency in actually saying that we need to have a review and have broader consultation with critical players in Kenya's political landscape, economic landscape, the social landscape, and you cannot now wish away devolution and the county governments. In fact, I hope we will be able to do some very basic things when the technical team eventually presents some graphics around Kenya's maps. There should be the national map in this document, but there should also be another map that clearly shows the counties that we have in this country, so that we shall be embedding graphically a very clear position that this is Kenya, and Kenya is composed of 47 counties. To me, it may look simple, but it is a very strong message that needs to go out. We must find convergence on national interests, some of which you have alluded to. There are constitutional provisions, there is public interest, but what is the convergence in terms of national interests between the national government and the county governments? That must be properly defined so that we can move together. Ultimately, we want this foreign policy to be in Parliament as a sessional paper. I keep seeing it missing in the presentation. And I think the beginning was that we must navigate our foreign policy away from the corridors of foreign affairs to the public. The sessional paper is important. Even after the launch, the sessional paper must come, because it is the sessional paper that will ultimately package Kenya's foreign policy. And then it is seen that this is Kenya's foreign policy. It is the sessional paper that will help us understand how we are going to fund our foreign policy. We cannot keep on downplaying the sessional paper. So I hope my team is listening so that we can rectify this, because that is where we are going to go. a lot of the issues that we want done will be done with the support of Parliament. As we look at our foreign policy, believe you me, there are going to be consequential amendments to the Foreign Policy Act. Parliament must be well informed to guide those amendments so that they are logical and they're in tandem and they anchor the foreign policy. We cannot leave it hanging. You have given us a very good example of why we must work together. And you gave the example of in areas of insecurity, for instance, if there's a conversation and you have doctors coming in certain hotspots, it is important because assume that you negotiate for a package of doctors or something, then the national government is unaware. Then unfortunately, and we have had incidents, you hear that the doctors have been kidnapped. It now ceases to be a county problem and it becomes a national problem, and it creates a lot of tension, and it can actually even devastate bilateral relations between countries. So there's every reason for us to pull together. We can also give other examples. Counties sometimes carry a bigger burden than you imagine on behalf of the nation. And I'll give you two specific examples. There's the Kakuma and there's Dadaab. Now, here's a situation where Kenya is playing its role in ensuring that matters of human rights, the refugee programs, and so forth. And we have an elaborate program called the Shirika Plan, which has received international recognition as a model of working with refugees and supporting countries that are in distress. It has received recognition. But which counties carry the largest burden? Turkana and Garissa. So in terms of how we handle our policies, then how do we look at the situation in terms of anchoring those counties that are carrying the extra challenge on behalf of Kenyans? These are issues that must be reflected as we think through our policies.
It is important for counties to be able to find their space in this foreign policy. Your Excellency, I was looking at the 2014 policy instrument, which is the one we are reviewing. 4 years after the enactment of the 2010 Constitution, when that document was enacted, it mentions counties only once. In a document that is about 70 pages, counties are mentioned one in the final pages of the policy document. And it mentions counties with regard to implementation of the policy without any detail. So one would argue that the 2014 policy pays very scant respect to the idea of counties. And what we have done at the State Department, pursuant to that proposition, of course, Your Excellency, is to establish a directorate that we call liaison. It's a directorate in charge of parliamentary and county liaison.
As Kenya navigates political, economic, and social challenges, it is crucial that we craft a foreign policy that reflects the diverse and ever-evolving interests of our county, both at national and county level of government. The Singoe spoke about the relationship between Baringo and Korea, the case of an investor in Meru, and I dare say that there are subnational governments in many countries, foreign countries, that regularly invite governors to meetings. And sometimes it is important for us to have a national view when we are discussing with them. I had an opportunity to go to Bavaria in Germany, and they are very keen to partner with some counties in Kenya. Sometimes the relationship becomes hazy, how to deal with counties and how to deal with, how to engage the national government. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I encouraged enhanced collaboration between the national government and county governments to establish platforms where counties can showcase their potential and attract foreign investment. Yes, it is the interest of counties to showcase their potential in foreign countries. But it is important that even counties and county governors and officials understand the critical importance of Kenya's foreign policy, so that when they are talking about anything abroad, they are articulating what is official with the national government. We cannot assume, for example, that a governor knows what the policy of the government is out there. So I think there is even an importance that county governors or county governments are inculcated into the real policy of the government beyond our borders, so that we don't speak in tangent, we speak the same language.
The Council of Governors herewith propose as following on the foreign policy, with a view to enhancing the county government's involvement in the foreign affairs space. Number one, county government's involvement in the regional international bodies. Our proposal is that the Kenya foreign policy should recognize the participation of county governments in the regional and international bodies, particularly in the areas of economic development, environmental protection, and cross-border cultural initiatives. This will allow county governments to engage with the East African Community, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, that is IGAD, and other regional bodies to represent local interests, enhance capacity, and foster regional significant development projects. This will further enable county governments to more actively contribute to the Kenya policy agenda. Number two, the role of county governments in international border cooperation and cross-border disputes. That is a place of homegrown dispute resolution mechanism. Counties bordering other countries face distinct challenges and opportunities, including security concerns. The Kenya foreign policy should acknowledge the unique position of counties bordering other countries and overtly state their role in managing cross-border relationships, security, and dispute resolution. Such involvement can only de-escalate minor border issues before they become international disputes. County governments should be able to participate in dialogue and strategies related to border security, cross-border trade, and dispute management to foster peaceful coexistence and economic cooperation.